Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim, ladies and gentlemen. In this short video clip, I am going to give you a brief background of the Lahore Resolution of 1940 and some of its important points. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a very long background of the Lahore Resolution, but to cut it short, I would say that Muslims in India were not a minority because they were really lesser in number as compared to the Hindu community. But the two distinguished characteristics were such that they might not be considered as a negligible minority. The first distinguished characteristic was that they ruled over India for more than 800 years. And the second characteristic was that they were occupying certain areas of India where they were in numerical majority. So any nation which was having these two characteristics might not be considered as minority. The Muslims of India wanted to regain their past glory and remember that the whole Pakistan movement was revolving around their desire of the Muslims, and their desire of regaining of past glory of the Muslims was a catalyst for the Pakistan movement. Muslims of India tried their best to join with Hindus so that they can wage a joint struggle against the British imperialist power. History has some evidences for their desire of the Muslims. The War of Independence in 1857 was fought by Muslims and Hindus collectively against the British imperialism. Unfortunately, that war ended in a defeat for the natives and a victory for the British imperialist power. The era after the 1857 War of Independence was a dark age for Muslims. On one hand, the British imperialist power let loose the reign of terror against the Muslims because they considered Muslims to be responsible for the War of Independence, to which the Britishers called as the mutiny or the revolt. Unfortunately, during that testing time, the Hindus parted their ways with the Muslims and they joined the Britishers. For that friendly gesture, the Britishers later on rewarded the Hindu communities with so many political and economic concessions. Ladies and gentlemen, despite the role played by Hindus in the post-1857 era, the Muslims did not lose their hope of joint struggle with Hindus against the British imperialism. And the most significant event in the history of India was the one when Muslims entered into an agreement with the Hindus, and that significant agreement is called as the Lucknow Pact in 1916. Everybody knows, and even the Hindu writers are witness to the fact that that agreement was brokered by Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah, and in memory of that historic agreement, the Hindus bestowed upon Jinnah the title of ambassador of Hindu-Muslim unity. Unfortunately, due to the outbreak of First World War and then the engagement of Muslims in the historic Khilafat movement, the Lucknow Pact could not show any progress. And when during the war, the British authorities sent Simon Commission so that to give India a constitution, and the Muslims and Hindus tried to give their own packages or formulas for the future constitution. The formula of Hindus were absolutely against the interests of the Muslims. And that formula is called as the Nehru Report of 1928. Although Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah came up with a befitting rejoinder to the Hindu formula by giving his historical 14-point formula. But the Indian National Congress did not abandon their anti-Muslim policies. Their attitude during the roundtable conferences was also against the interest of the Muslims. But the most important stage of history was that when, as a result of 1937 elections, the Indian National Congress formed governments in some of the provinces of India. They were absolutely against the interest of the Muslims. Their policies, their attitude, and their actions against the Muslims led the Muslims to the conclusion that Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah, in one of his statements, categorically said that now that is the parting of ways. That parting of ways sentiments led to the holding of an All India public meeting in Lahore on 21st, 2nd, and 3rd of March 1940, wherein the Lahore Resolution was passed. The Lahore Resolution has two important points. One of the points was that the resolution, or the Muslims of India, rejected the existing law enforced in the country, that is the Government of India Act 1935. Why were they rejecting the 1935 Act? Because to them, that act was an obstruction in giving the Muslims safeguards and protection of their constitutional, political, and economic rights. That's why they rejected the 1935 Act altogether. This was point number one of the Lahore Resolution. Point number two of the Lahore Resolution, which is really very significant and known to everybody who knows about the history of freedom movement. In that point, the All India Muslim League leadership vowed and they demanded that those areas wherein Muslims were numerically in majority, and two such areas were there in the British Indian setup. One area was the northwestern India, where today's Pakistan is situated, and the northeastern zone where today's Bangladesh is situated. So the Lahore Resolution demanded that in these two areas, some federating units should be organized and regrouped, where the Muslims should be given their legitimate rights, that is religious rights, political rights, social and economic rights. This was the Lahore Resolution, and after the Lahore Resolution, the Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah abandoned his previous stand, that is to be united with India are to be united with the Hindus community. He said that now it is parting of the ways. The best thing about the Lahore resolution is that it contains a spirit which can even today be implemented in the existing Pakistan, in today's Pakistan. The spirit is that resolution contains the spirit or the principle of regional autonomy. If we want to implement the Lahore resolution in today's Pakistan, we have to give autonomy to the federating units of Pakistan. And how can that be done? That can be done through implementation of the 1973 Constitution in letter and spirit. Allah Hafiz.